Welcome back to the Hyperloops. I'm your host, Mike Gem. I'm handsome and I'm ready to fight. And I'm with today, I've got Quenko. I've got Honestly Sarcastic. That's right, I'm back. Doing?
Doing all right, Tiny. Doing all right. I mean, Bobby Sapphire, how you doing?
Yeah, no, this is... I'm not Mike Gem. Miss him. I don't know where he is. I think he's under Quenko's bed. That's what I heard. He stuffed him under there. They had enough of his again.
Yeah, apparently I've incorporated. Now I'm Quenko. It's Quenka, by the way. Like Canada, like Quenka, like...
What did I call you?
Quenko. It was glorious.
Okay, well, it's been a while, okay? I don't know the names of cards or the names of podcasters or the names of my friends, you know?
Yeah, and you don't have the hat, so it's okay. But I got you there.
Nothing. A shell of what I once was. Also know nothing about the meta, so should be fun cast.
Indeed. Indeed. The old days, baby. This is the old days. This is circa 1998. I mean, sorry, 2018. 1998, we'd be playing like something else.
1998.
Oh, man. We're, what, year 2 of Trump? Don't worry, we're not going to talk politics here, guys. I just talking smack.
It doesn't exist. Nothing happened yesterday. Don't worry about it.
Nothing. Nada. No way. No how.
Nothing.
All right. So getting in, it's nice to see you back, Tiny. When's the last time you played Destiny, my man? Before the whole Faltering Allegiance?
Wow. I think last time I played Destiny, when I played in the 8-person regional tournament, I brought Ilo Sister or something. I thought it was a good deck with very limited testing. Turns out it was like tier or something. But I got to the final 4, lost to a mirror against a person who actually built a good version of the deck. I think that was the last time I played. I might have played at my friend John's house.
That's a long time ago.
Long time.
EAW? Sounds like EAW. Good time.
I played. I also played with Legacy's Yoda.
Okay.
So I don't know if one of those was first or last. I did play the qualifier with Legacy's Yoda. I played with deck with. Both of those were just kind of like, I was bored one day and I was like, oh wow, this looks like maybe there's a mill deck here. I just like threw it together, went and won a store championship, and the guys were like, wow, that's cute. Here's the real version.
Gotta
Okay,
love it.
cool. I was just a dude who threw some cards together. I didn't actually like test it.
Picking the good stuff, putting it all together.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens, man. You just get lucky. It's the beginner's luck. You're like, I got some cards I like. Just put it in the deck. There we go.
I don't feel like mill was all that hard to put together, like at least a bad version. You're just like, there are too many mill cards now. There has to be a good deck here. There's just too many of them. How it would be stopped.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So let me just say this. When I left Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was a game of like who could do the most degenerate broken thing first. Right? Or like mill deck was like a solitaire-ish kind of deck of doing your broken thing. But a special deck was like, I'm gonna chain 19 specials together and do that broken thing. Then there was like Bean was probably gone by then, but she had her broken thing. I feel like right now, Destiny doesn't feel like who does the broken independently best. It kind of just feels like I do something and I react to your something and you react to my something. I don't know if the meta is going to move away from that as we get more experience with Faltering Allegiance. That's how it feels to me. It feels kind of similar to like a Powered Up Awakenings meta, is what I think was their goal all along.
I don't know, man. This feels like the same Destiny to me for a long time. Like the Awakening set was just like, I do a lot of nothing, and then I do nothing some more, and then, oh wow, look, 8 damage, I killed your guy. Or like Holocron into Mind Probe, it's mitigated. Okay, whatever, Mind Probe next round, it's mitigated. Okay, you can't have any more mitigation. There's only like 3 in the set. Oh, I got you for 4 or 5, sucker. He's dead.
I will say that FN. I feel FN was like do a lot of little things. Like deal damage, grab a shield, grab a resource.
Oh yeah, no, but that was later. I think we're just talking like just straight awakenings was dirty.
Oh yeah.
Once that 2 hit, then we were just doing dirty things, right? We were like force speed, blah blah blah, do this thing, like
Yeah,
FN,
no.
ability. Oh look, your Poe's dead. Poe activate, like hit and run, kill you, like. But
Yeah, Awakening was a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of little things.
That 2 to me didn't feel like Destiny anymore. Almost felt like a whole different game, which I enjoyed. But I was like, I don't know what this game even is. Like, I just pull dice out and kill you before you even get an action. Like, that's not the game I fell in love with. I guess my point is it kind of feels like that's what we're doing again. Like, yeah, the cards are way more powerful, but I don't just get to roll in with Poe and then kill all your guys before. Like, what just happened? You did 9 damage to all my guys and hasn't begun.
Yep.
It feels like we're away from. I might be wrong on that.
No,
I think the big.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think the big thing that I think that you're talking about, Tiny, is just the lack of action cheating. It's not as prevalent as it once was, and that's like I think one of the more feel bad people call it, like masturbatory things, like, oh, I do this, oh, you can't do anything, I'm gonna do it again, I'm gonna do this other thing, and then now it's like, you have sort of like subtle action cheating where it's like, all right, I'm gonna flip 2 dice. Oh, you can answer some dice, that's very powerful, but you can do something after.
Yeah, there's a limited amount of the action cheats now. But like there still exists, like, oh, droids instigate into rollout, into focus, into auto kill your guys. Exists like the Anakin one where you can like Ahsoka roll out, smash in 2, or Anakin, roll out, do the 2 damage, and then he has the ability. Oh my god, I don't know why I can't remember. It was like, but he can activate and resolve a die, so he can like roll in, resolve a die, 4 for 1, smash your guy, ability hit you for 2 more, flip over into a Vader, and you're like, oh okay, like whatever guy. So there's some small bits, but yeah, it's not as degenerate as it was off of Force Speed and like 8 million special chain, in Sabine. But yeah, Sabine was actually good up through the end of where she rotated, like top 4 at Worlds still.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I just like that Destiny better. That's the Destiny I fell in love with,
Mm-hmm.
kind of Destiny. I agree. At the time playing that Destiny, this can be a little bit underpowered. Like, going to time here just because we can't actually damage each other. So having it be that Destiny, a powered up version, something that's really got me excited to play again. I just expected that people would be like, hey, there's a new set, and I would be like, oh cool, I'll try it, and then I'd be like, so I roll out and then you roll out and kill me. Like, I just figured power creep had gotten to the point where there was like, oh, that was twice as good as the old Poe, and I was sort of like treading, looking through the card pool, and then I was like, where's all the action sheets? I don't understand what happened to Destiny. Did they fix it?
They
No
removed
way.
they removed ambush in most of the action sheets. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there'd be like 3 cards that would change it, and then there'd be all this trash that they printed that just like wouldn't compete. So you're just like, oh well, I guess I have to use these cards because everyone's using these cards. But
Yeah, Lucas went away and we saw less and less action cheat stuff. But then like droids came out and then it was like, wait, why do we still have this? So yeah, like that's what we're looking at. But we're looking at for the most part a lot less rolling, or natural rolling. Up until before this rotation, there was a lot of just autofocus type stuff, or not necessarily like character autofocus, but like I'm running a lot of focus. So roll out, whatever, don't care. I'll use these focuses to fix it to max, and we'll smash your guy. I do kind of miss the peek at your hand, because Friends in Low Places was just such a good card.
It was friends.
You cut out real quick. What? Say it one more time.
Saying, yeah, I did play with friends. Yeah, that was a pretty.
Yeah, the good days. The good days.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just kind of feel like we're at a spot where it feels powerful but not broken. If you don't mind, I've got a quick action cheating story.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy at our local shop. We used to get like 30 players on a random Wednesday night or whatever. But there was this one guy that would chase away players. Like, they would play him once and never want to come again.
Mm-hmm.
He would play the Han Ray action cheating deck in a super annoying way. Like, he would play it as fast as humanly possible, and he'd go, he'd go action, 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 and every time he took an action, he would action at the person, then quickly roll all the dice in. The person would be like, "I don't know what just happened." He's like, "What? I don't. How did you do that?" Like, it's not my fault. It was really annoying against him. He would come up to me at the end of the night and be like, "Hey, Tiny, any way you can just not pair me against that guy because I can't play him?" I was like, "That's not how tournaments work. I can't just like manipulate the pairings because everyone hates him." Be like, "You're playing in the parking lot. Go out there, we'll give you the win. It's cool." That's probably what we should.
I don't know. We had a guy that played Hanrei, and a lot of people were unhappy with him, but it seemed less unhappy about Hanrei and more about the personality behind it. But I don't know. Overall, he seemed like he was a good guy in general. You know, it was just that kind of Destiny died out. We lost most of those people. So I don't know whatever happened after that, but good to see that Hanrei doesn't have Starship Graveyard and Second Chance doing stupid things again.
And like, this guy wasn't a bad guy. It's just how he played.
Did he have an ugly board state where dice were all over the place? Because that's the one I hate.
So
our guy would have a jetpack die hiding somewhere under his card, or like behind it, and it's in the pool. So like it was everywhere. You'd have like a die here, over there, like next to the deck, and then he'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna take this 3 and this 2 over here. We're gonna smash that guy." And then he'd like forget 2 other dice and claim. Like, it's like, what's going on?
the best thing I think about playing this guy who did the action easily, he would always make a mistake. And because he was going so fast, and if you were paying close enough attention, you could just stop him and be like, "Well, it's over." And you did it out of order. You didn't have an action when you did that thing. You're out of action.
Yeah.
What? I had 29 more actions. Maybe if you slow down a bit, you wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, he'll stack the 2 actions, then play something that doesn't have the action, then roll out and think he can resolve. And then you're just like, I'm going to eat that 2 ranged. Good luck pairing it with that modified side, because your whole deck is modifiers, sucker. That was literally how it went all the time. It was bananas.
I'm going to play my Awakenings. Gotcha.
That was actually a really good card in the form of, like, it was awful because it cost you 1, but that deck required it, kind of.
Right, yeah.
my plus 2 melee side. Awakening was the 1-cost support where you could tap it and resolve a die that was a modifier as a base side.
I remember we would play it with Ray because her dice were so awful.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming back.
To this day, her dice are still awful, but the plus resource side is great. The discard and the modified too is just awful. But if you brought her back, you'd be able to play her with like Chopper or something, which would be interesting. Because there's nothing with Ambush right now, so she wouldn't get the action sheet.
I did forget. I was wrong when I said I hadn't played Destiny in that long. I actually played with my daughter about 3 months ago. We started playing a campaign where she was Leia and I was Luke, and we had to start with a weapon. The first campaign was 1 stormtrooper. Didn't use any cards. We just rolled dice, and the 1 stormtrooper slaughtered that poor storm. Then next campaign was on a friend, and then we were working up to like Vader with an army. I was like, no, he's too scary. We didn't get that far, but we had fun slaughtering poor stormtrooper.
Oh man, this is a little old stormtrooper. Probably doesn't even have his resource to pay for that side. He's like, no. Slaughter, dead. He's dead. But all right, I think it's enough talking about the super old times. Let's talk about some Faltering Allegiances. Let's give the people what they want to hear. So, what would you say?
Well, we all have our top top 5? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, top 5, 5 time, like a $5 footlong that doesn't cost $5.
I gotta be the hype man here. 5. It's gonna be the headline.
You gonna be Booker T? You gonna be the announcer? 5 time.
5 cards ready to go.
All right. Who wants to take it first? We going Quank or Tiny? You guys can box for who gets to go first.
It's Quenko.
Okay, sorry, Quenko.
I think
Quenko.
it's Quink. I think it's Quinkanoff. Actually, I've gone Russian. Gone
Quenkanov.
to the Brus.
Quenkanov
Quinkanoff,
Romanowski.
yes. Quinkanoff.
Can I give my caveat before we even top five?
Always.
So my caveat is, boy, I have a hard time finding cards that I'm like, this is a top 5 for some. This is not to say that I don't like the set. I actually like the set very much. Like, it's a very interesting set where they're done a pretty good job of like making a ton of like good cards, but there aren't that many where I'm just kind of like, oh my god, it's a giant Vader, or like this thing that does this other amazing thing. They just are all kind of like, yeah, it's fine. Like, it does a cool thing. It has a cool design space. I see both of you out of his mind.
Yeah.
It's totally awesome.
So should we switch to the top 3 then, so that we're not like saying the same 5
have
cards
5
for each of
cards.
us?
I'm totally fine. I have
Alright.
5 cards.
You guys go with it, and then I'm gonna hear your 10 and be like, "There's nothing left."
Well, we could. I figured 5 would be fine because then we could be like, all right, well, you already said it, so I'll skip that one, and now I have a top 3 or whatever.
Okay, go ahead. We'll let Tiny go first since he can talk it up.
I'll give you one card.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Change of Plan. That is the hero card. That's you.
It's 0 cost if your entire team is or if everyone alive is yellow. You can resolve a support die, using the same value it's showing, but as a different symbol.
So this is how I read the card. It's totally different than how you read.
Yeah.
I read the card like this. You change your plans with your entourage die out, and you get to do tons of damage based on. That's how I've card. And so I think it's a really interesting card that lets you do a lot of cool stuff with scoundrels, and it's basically a direct damage card that lets you churn out like direct damage. It makes it so that marauders are more playable, which seem to be really cool cards to me. That to like either you play it as dark side and then you change of plans in dark side deck. You have marauders. You play marauders in a light side deck. So you bring in some awesome villain removal card or weapon or whatever it is that you want. I just think Change of Plans is a really cool card that lets you do a bunch of direct damage out of nowhere, and I always love cards. 7 damage out of nowhere.
Did Kira rotate?
I think so, because I've never heard of that.
Okay, then yeah. So Kira was a 16-point elite who let you run. She was also neutral. She let you just straight up run any hero or villain events that were yellow in your deck, as many as you want. So like, it would have answered your problem without having Marauder, who's awful.
Sides, not great.
But it's
Paying
fine.
for all those sides, not.
Yeah, I like Change of Plans with Hired Muscle because it has 3/3 sides, so then you can essentially turn that into 2 resources if you want. Because some of those 3s are just booty. 3 disrupt. My opponent spent their money. Well, let's just turn this into money. Or 3 discard. 3 discard. Take your hand.
It's very powerful. Now, do we want to all do? Do we want to like? Do we want you, Tiny, to go all the way, or do we want to like round table it, like draft
Got
it?
a round table.
You guys bounce back and forth. I'll just sit here. I'm a pretty face when I shave and clean up.
Quenka, what do you got for us?
Quanko LLC coming in with the top 1 pick.
All right. Well, I gotta give my I think a really obvious one, since I love mono blue, is Force Affinity. It's just like what? Like, this card just like does everything. It draws cards, it does damage. It's like free. And I like this card because it's also like a payoff card for like building towards something, which I think is actually a really good thing that the FFG, which they really wouldn't give you that much like payoff cards for like a certain like team or whatever. I think later on, towards the end of it, they were, but initially they didn't do as much job. But this card's just like really good. For those who don't know, it's Force Affinity. It's an event. It's neutral. It's spot a number of apprentice, Sith, or Jedi. Draw that many cards. Spot a Jedi to gain a resource. Spot a Sith to deal 1 damage to a character. So I think that the villain side uses it the best because they have Jedi's for some reason, and I know that like on the hero side you can draw 3 cards, which is nice. So yeah, so it's cool. It's a cool little card. That's like my favorite card, I think.
So, point of reference, there are 2 Jedis in the villain section, but the absolute best Sith that you could probably run and still draw a bunch is actually Hero Anakin when he flips to Vader. So the Anakin Ahsoka Youngling deck plays Knighthoods to keep the Jedi, and they can flip over. So you could actually have a Knighthooded Vader that Force Affinities and does both. So it's still live, still draws,
That's true.
still pretty
Flipped
busted.
you flipped your Anakin. So I think that like at that point you're like,
You already vomited on them, and you're like, take some more.
Sure, in the next set, there's a Sith Leia, though.
Sith Jar Jar? That's what I hear about all the time. He's got to be amazing because that guy talks way too much. Like everyone kills themselves after he talks. Like that's how it works, right? Like just end yourself.
or Sith Ray.
Sith
That's
Ray.
possible, yeah. What I like so much about Force Affinity is that I feel like it's representative of like their design philosophy in this set, which was like pretty powerful cards that can't be ubiquitous, right? So it's like it only fits in this archetype. So there's not this metagame that develops where it's like deck runs the same 3 weapons and every deck runs the same 4 events. Like how they've designed a whole bunch of these cards that are like specific. A great example is the spy plot that's totally busted, can only be used with a select group of characters that really don't that amazing way, so it's not busted. But I like that design philosophy of not having to power creep overall because you can have powerful, super specific. I like that about the design of this.
Yeah.
Affinity, I think it's an awesome early game. I went on Discord the other day and sort of questioned whether it was a 2 of in every deck, and everyone was like, "You're the stupidest person who ever lived." Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I definitely think currently the question is when we have 2 more sets, will there be an opportunity of running it when there's a card to run it? Or no?
I think
on turn 1,
I think in the hero version, if you have guaranteed 2 to 3 Jedis, or at least 2 Jedis and one apprentice, there's no way you can't deck that. Like, just kind of think like old school Balance Ambition. You know, there were reasons to draw a stack of cards, but Balance Ambitions required you to like dump your hand or do a bunch of stuff first, whereas this one is the initial setup. So Force Affinity, okay, cool, I found a binds. Now let me set up off of this. Or oh my god, I found like this other 0 cost value like synergy cards. These are amazing. I found my knighthood. So like there would have to be a ridiculous amount of better cards that also do like cantrip type stuff for me to not run it. I could understand not running in a deck that had 1 Jedi and let's say nothing else. Like that's just awful there. If it has a Jedi and an apprentice, you're not running knighthoods. Okay, you know, if the Jedi is low health, he's going to die fast, I could see potentially not running it. But the ones that have the 2, you're super safe to get it going, or you have like enough of a pseudo like mitigation package, or that guy's just not the one that's going to be targeted, like no problem, I'll run this all day because of the value you get, especially in the Vader Malicos deck, because you're drawing to getting the resource back and dealing a damage. Like you cannot go wrong. That could draw 1 and deal 1, and I would still run it. Draw 2, deal 1 for, you know, quote unquote free is absolutely bananas.
I agree at the beginning.
Yes,
me,
but
drops off.
For me, a card that drops off after round 2 is perfectly fine. Like a lot of cards in this game, anything with a spot requirement pretty much drops off after round 2. That guy dies, this thing's useless now, I can't do anything. Unending Hate, Vader died, you can't cast it. So Unending Hate doesn't magically be terrible. It'll actually be terrible in that situation, but you're not like, oh, I can't run this because it's not actually good. Like, no, it still does what it needs to do. But life.
I will say last night I played against Elrathion. in that blue hero deck.
Yeah.
2 of them turn 1. Hand was so big it barely fit on. I mean, like almost falling off of. That was impressive. That was impressive stuff.
Yeah. Man, I kind of want to just pick like kind of out there cards. So I'm gonna go with the weirdest card in the group that has like a ton of playability, but
I got those. I got those for later.
yeah, but you have those in your deck at all times. So I just want your part of that. I'm gonna go with Protect the Younglings. Remove one of your Jedi character dice to give one of your apprentice characters 3 shields. In general, you'd be like, wow, this is like super niche, but like if you kind of remember back to the old Caution days, there are some really strong setups there. Seeing as we have like the draw off of Force Affinity, and this is probably really only good in like the Anakin Ahsoka deck. If Ahsoka's a Jedi, you could then actually eat her own die to give herself 3 shields. Eat her or Anakin's die to give the Youngling 3 shields. Maybe Youngling picked up a regular Neiman Mastery and has to just be a little bit bigger just in case. Something like that seems good. And then like technically Padawan Braid exists, which can make a blue character an apprentice. So there's probably some weird setups here where if you wanted to run Padawan Braid and like Mace Windu, who peaks at the top 4 for upgrades to get shields, there's probably some weird Mace plus an apprentice deck that you play both Knighthoods in those, and you can like flip and throw these things on so you could protect Younglings on themselves or each other or whatever you're looking to do. So I think this is the one that could like stand out and ruin people's absolute like lives. Like, oh, my Anakin one's terrible. You know what? This is better as 3 shields. So I'm gonna take Protect the Younglings.
Look through all the cards. I didn't even see.
Gots to go deep.
You probably saw just like kill something, and you're like, I don't want to kill my own stuff.
I'm cautioning, baby.
All right, I'm gonna say next, Unending. I like this card quite a bit. I think it's cool that it's like it's super punishing of their dice, but then it does have the direct damage element. Like we said, it's specific in that you have to have a Sith. Just like that design direction that's limited, so you're not going to see every deck, but when you see Sith, pretty powerful card.
Yeah. And then for anyone listening in, sorry, because we messed up on Protect the Younglings. To Protect the Younglings was 0 cost. I think it was actually hero. You eat a Jedi die to give an apprentice 3 shields. Unending Hate is a 1 cost blue event. Villain, spot a Sith or Inquisitor to turn an opponent's die to a side showing a blank. Then deal damage to a character equal to the number of dice in that opponent's pool showing a blank.
I had a game recently against. I realized it said visitor, and they put it on it, and I was like, "Duh, it's only." And then I actually read it.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Yeah, one thing I was really gonna say is that I think that they.
Quanka, we lost you. We lost you after one thing I'm going to say.
I'm here. Oh, okay, yeah. So I was going to say that I'm surprised that they didn't put a cap on it, because I thought we learned with like Feel Your Anger. It's just so good when you're like, oh, it gets to remove like 4 of your dice. Like I think cap it at 3. I think when you get to 4, it's like come on now, that's just so gross.
Yeah.
But maybe they just maybe make you want to have to play around it. But at 3, you're gonna play around it, so it's like,
yeah, that's damage, not removing dice. So it's kind of like you can take the chance there, right? Of like the math on like, can I afford to take some damage here? Removing dice was just so over the top that it like ruin you, or it could just be annoying. And if it's gonna ruin you, then you better reroll right away. Be annoying, then you going all in and see how many more blanks you can.
Yeah, I want to say Quanka had been the unfortunate receiver of many Feel Your Angers in our Awakenings games from way back in the day.
Yeah, Stormtroopers hate you guys.
Well, I just meant the Padawan stuff, like, because I played Stormtroopers for so long. It's just like, oh, Padawan, you like hit 2 blanks, and you're like, sorry, bro.
Yeah, after a while, you realize you just played to feel your angers because sometimes it was just like the best card that ever been printed. So you're just like, well, it's a dice game. Let's go.
Yeah, and other times it was just like, all right, it's average. I'll get my one mitigation. That's a little more niche for the
Yeah.
chance at this crazy ceiling upside. Oh, look, 3 blanks. The times, the times. All right, Cuenca, what you
All right,
got
so
for
I
us,
have
baby?
to go here with so my card. I really like Vibro Sword. I feel like it's a card that you can kind of build around because it's like late game, and if you play 2, you're gonna get it. It really incentivizes a certain kind of deck that you're gonna build. I don't know how good it is. I'll read it out for people. The new Vibro Sword. It has redeploy. It's got zero stick, 1 stick, two melee, +3 melee, 1 discard, blank. Has redeploy. Costs 4 printed, but decrease the cost of this upgrade by 1 if you play it on a yellow character. Before you resolve this die, increase its value by 1 if attached character is unique, and increase its value by 1 if attached character is elite. So it really incentivizes a sort of deck. I think this is a card that's going to scale well when there's more cards that you can play with. Cheaper, like mono yellow. Imagine like the old like Awakenings Balatik. Obviously he's range, but just a bunch of like unique range characters, and it's just like a 2 Vibro Sword deck, and you can get to that Vibro Sword, and it's just like the card that your opponent dreads because it really reads like 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's just like, oh my god, and it costs 3 and has redeploy, and then just how do you deal? So I like that card a lot.
So I'll let you in on something, Cuenca. This is in every yellow deck that exists. Every single one. As like a 2 of. No questions asked. And it is as scary as you believe it was
I know
going
it's
to
good.
be. No. It's
I can
already
imagine it's very
played in
good.
every single yellow deck.
Definitely the centerpiece of my Forlam Dangar.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Your guess is on point. That's all I was saying. I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to guess. This is real.
Yeah. I mean, I assumed any kind of deck, any kind of yellow character deck, I was just going to be playing it. So it's just like,
yeah.
Like there's just like some weird like corner cases, but if you're like playing elite characters, it has redeploy. And there just aren't that many redeploys. This is like a really good redeploy, so it's just like you kind of like have to play it.
I would say it's the second best redeploy that currently exists. The first one is still unfortunately held by Anakin's lightsaber. Which is primarily just because you don't have to worry about these other constrictions. Like it always costs 3. It's always going to give the opponent a shield and get you 2 shields. There's some niche cases where someone has 3 shields and they got nothing for it, and it's 2/2 plus 2 shield resource. So like just less blanks. Like the overall power is lower because the ceiling doesn't exist for it that Vibro Sword has, but the floor is technically much higher. But yeah, no, Vibro Sword is absolutely lit, and it does a lot of work as the theoretical better Chewbacca blaster that has redeploy, but just doesn't get the extra die usage. 2, 3, 4 is bananas in pajamas.
It's better than Anakin's saber on
what?
Forlam.
Yes, because Forlam can't run it. Yeah. But that's a color restriction either way, and the other one's hero too, so it's even worse because this is the best redeploy available to villain. Period. It actually is probably one of like 3 redeploys available to villain. Actually, I think there's a 4th one. There's like a red one. Yeah, it's
yeah. See the redeploys. Oh, they're all garbage. What happened to my destiny?
They got rid of the word redeploy and then put it on this, and like that's where it was weird because they were like, oh, we're not really printing like real good cards, and then this was there, and I was like, did someone misunderstand how Darksaber was worded? Because like I felt like they wanted to redeploy Darksaber, but they wanted to make sure it only worked on like good stuff, and it was just like, you guys should have not put that elite thing or not put the unique thing. It should have just been like 15 points or higher. If it was 15 points or higher instead of unique, then it lost a lot of its power. But right now, I've just been putting this on a droid, and this little droid thing is like, hee, 4. Gotcha. So yeah.
Secret insider information here. I went to make a top 10 video for Faltering, then realized it was a top 1 video and decided not to make it. The only card in the video was Vibrosaur. I was like, well, this is gonna be a lame video.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I could easily pull out a ton of cards. Like the dilemma is like favorite is one of those tough ones. Like for me, this is just like an auto. So one of you guys was gonna say this. That's why I had to go deep in the tank. I was like, I have to avoid stuff that Quink is gonna say, which means I have to like leave the bottom of the barrel. But then I have to stay away from the top stuff because you guys are gonna have that too. So I got to go like dumpster diving through some niche stuff. So hard.
I also have it on my list. I only have the top 4 now because Vibros.
Yeah, I didn't have Vibrosaur on my list because I already knew it was too good.
You just assumed.
I already knew it was like it's there. If that's not there, you guys are awful people, and I could just come in hot with the 5th card.
I read that card a lot. I read it a lot just to make sure that I read it correctly. I was like, well, I guess this is like really, really good. Might be the best card in the set.
I'd probably go with Force Affinity being the best card and Vibrosaur close second. Now that's probably just a goddamn lie. I'm sorry, guys. I tried.
I'm on target.
I tried. I was trying to lie blatantly, but I can't. I'm sorry, guys. Force Affinity is that good, but I just wanted to be funny to Tiny. I just pulled up my card on the screen, and it is not the card I thought I clicked. I don't know if I've seen this. I clicked Will of the Force, and that is not accurate. Let's try this a second time. All right, so the card that I picked for mine is actually going to be Prescient Leap. So it's a 1-cost support. It's actually a move support, so it actually goes next level. I actually have to read what Lightsaber Mastery does and whether I could hide this under there. But after you resolve 2 or more blue dice in the same action, you may place 1 resource on this card. Action. Discard the support to discard an opponent's upgrade or downgrade with a cost less than or equal to the number of resources on the support. So in general, you'd look at this and you'd be like, why would you run this? Like, this is crazy bad. The problem is that a lot of decks in general need to have an answer to Captured in case you're seeing that in the meta a ton. You don't always have to have it, but it would be nice to have 1 out to kill it. So Prescient Leap can actually just straight up kill Captured. There's problems here in that if you're playing against Captured, you're probably also playing against Desperate Measures. So it's not the same as just running an Unshackled, but this has other option plays. If you have enough blue dice, you're just straight up mono blue, and you can get the trigger to get like 2 resources on it. Whether it took a round or 2 rounds, now we're talking you can kill an upgrade, 2-cost upgrade, boom, it's gone. An opposing Neiman Mastery, that's going to be a good hit. You could, for 1, you kill a Riot Shield or an Armor Plating, which are currently being used for defense, so you can use this as a pseudo offense in that situation. And if everything's going amazing, you have a bunch of dice, you could actually go and kill someone's Vibrosaur.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go with this. So kill that Vibrosaur.
Kill that Vibrosaur, kill that Shein Mastery.
That's so much.
But the thing is, it's not 1 per round. So like you can resolve 2 sticks, you got it, and then you could actually resolve 2 more sticks after and get it.
Right.
So, boom, you're in real quick. We lost an NJ Cuenca. He died in the making of this video. This is now the Tiny and Honestly Sarcastic podcast, and I have to once again move this hat. We'll see if he ever shows up by the end of this in 1990. Oh, there he is. He's back, and the hat has to move again. But yeah, Prescient Leap, I'm going to go with that one. Someone ran this in a K2SO Luke deck. I don't think I had read this beforehand, so I think that's interesting, and I'm going to go do some research to look if we can run this under a Lightsaber Mastery, because I think that is a interesting trick.
For me, I looked at the card at first, and I was like, that card looks pretty bananas. And looking through, and I was like, what are the mono decks I would want to run? I think Ahsoka deck is a great one, but resolving Ahsoka's dice when you're activating another character. So are you really resolving 2 blues very often? That was sort of my question. It's like, in theory, the card looks really strong. Will it work all that well in practice?
I think if you just treat it as an anti-captured card with the potential for some other small time stuff, then like you're okay with it. Because like having something that's multifaceted ends up being much better than just having the unshackle that's dead versus everything else. But at the same time, like if you're playing against actual bounties and they hit like a dead or alive, you actually still have to resolve dice in order to kill that. So your guy might already be activated, and then you already paid, and then it's no bueno. Unfortunately, Lightsaber Mastery says 2 different move events. So no hiding a Prescient Leap under it, Dream, to just not even have it in my deck. Sad times.
And you can also kill any 0 cost bounties too.
Yes, like Captured. Because we don't care about the other ones. We see a 0 cost bounty. Go ahead.
Play bounty decks, but I don't remember which one is Captured.
Captured is the closing in flip. The plot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be a good one to get rid of for nothing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
pay me or you can't activate this guy.
But still, it's better than letting him have it back and giving them a resource.
Yeah. I'll pay a resource, but not to you. To the bank for a Prescient Leap. Let's go. DM, I hate you, and now I can't afford to tap my guy. I'm flipping this table.
I'm finding closing
that was
in so good against skilled, not that amazing. That's what I found. Like it just wrecks players that aren't that skilled. Like I've had players not be able to roll in their Luke with 3 upgrades. You know, they make one tiny misstep in it. That is enough. Good players are just kind of like, okay, I'm going to avoid it, work around it. You finally put on my guy who's about to die anyway. Cool. That was.
Yeah.
And Joe, we played in a tournament. We're just like, I'll never activate this guy again then. Screw you. And I was like, what? What are you doing, Joe? Give me my freaking money.
So oddly enough, what you didn't know is I was known for doing that. I played Ancient of Zion with Rescue droids, and like he put it on my guy, and he got it on before I ever activated my guy because I just didn't play against it. I didn't know the timing of it, so I just left him there. Like he'll just never come in. I don't care. Don't even get like he's fine. I don't need this guy. I'll still beat you without this guy. And it gets really close and scary when I do that. I'm not gonna lie, but it is also funny.
It was funny because at first I was like, he's just doing like a pass game with me, and it didn't work out for him. And I was like, no, that's not at all what he's doing. He's just never gonna activate him again. All right,
you'll be poor for the whole game because I know you need money, and you need a lot of it. But I needed it too, so I needed to pay you and then just take more money. Because it was 3PO with 2 dice. That was 3 resources I was not giving up. 3.
If you hadn't won that game, we could look back and been like, that was... But you won, so I guess it wasn't.
It's still a mistake, win or lose.
Also, then I killed it. Didn't even have to. I don't know what I was doing.
I don't know. It's
right, my next card is going to be Cal Kestis' Saber, and mainly because I feel like I need to eat on this one. When I first saw this card, I was like, so this is just a god-awful card that we will never play. Cost weapon without redeploy that's not broken. But it's kind of like a worse pulse cannon, which isn't that bad of a place to be in since pulse cannon is completely broken. This feels pretty good. You roll it in, it's a shield, you're all disappointed, but then you're like, oh, I get another die. I reroll them both, and they're all melee damage.
So question, when's the last time you read Cal Kestis' lightsaber in full?
Possibly never, but it's been read too.
Okay. Because I'm going to read the card to you, and you're going to let me know if something seems a little different. So it's 3 cost hero, Cal Kestis' lightsaber. It's 2 melee for a resource, plus 3 melee, 1 shield, 2 shield for a resource, blank. Upgrade weapon, power action. If this upgrade is on Cal Kestis, turn this die to any side, period. If this die is showing a non-damage side, you may roll a set-aside copy of this die into your pool, period. Set that die aside after it is resolved or removed, period. Does that seem like the same card?
Yes, it does. You roll it out. It's on a shield side. You use power action. You the other shield side. you get to roll in your other die, and then you roll them both, and you get melee.
Okay. So when they gave us the entire set, it originally said if this die is not showing a damage side, you may roll a set-aside copy of this die into your pool. You could just power action straight from playing it on the guy before you ever rolled in and get the die.
And that was obviously too good.
So now it's you have to show a non-damage side, meaning if you roll it out and you mitigate it, they mitigate it, you never get your copy.
Which is kind of like pulse cannon, right? If you roll out pulse cannon, they mitigate it, then very sad moment.
Yeah, except if you hit the sides you want on this, like the 2 or the +3, you literally can't get the die now because you're probably just resolving it.
No, you're not. Come on. You gotta have the balls to turn it to the wrong side to get another die. Get the luck of the force to re-roll them all to the right side.
Wait. So you're playing this on Cal Kestis? Because other than that, I have to re-roll somewhere there to then try to do it. That just seems wrong. Oh, so very wrong.
And
No,
you actually,
seriously, though, the way I'm
and you,
is if it goes well, resolve it, and if it goes badly, you get like a bonus for it. That's kind of how I've been viewed.
and you also do have to turn. So if it's on Cal, you have to turn. Like you have to. So it's like if you rolled like, the best non-damage side in whatever situation, either like 2 shields, you have to root the 1 shield. And if you're on the 1 shield and you don't have any money, you have to go to the 2 shield. And that's
I'm just going to the blank. Unending hate me. I dare you, bro. Get at me.
Can't turn my die to a blank. It's already
there. Yeah, exactly.
This just in, they're reprinting Anger, and this card is bonkers for heroes. Anger for heroes.
Yeah, so they unending hate you, and then you anger them back. You're like,
Yep.
no. Yeah, no, I like this card when it had the old text, and I like cheated for probably about 2 games, not reading it, thinking it was still the old text, and then someone was like, "Oh no, like read the card," and I'm like, "What?" And I read it, and I was like, "Yeah, no, whatever. I can make a copy," and I just didn't bother reading it, and they're like, "No, read it," and I was like, "This doesn't seem right," and I had to like go ask, and I'm like, "Someone, I may have tricked me." But, like, they made a copy of this die. Can you guys, like, help a brother out? What's going on? And they were like, oh, they changed that. And I was like, when? Were you going to say something? Like, is there going to be, like, a write-up somewhere? Hey, guys, like, we messed up. Yeah, we had to fix this, like, selling intel because we got the call that this was just straight up make a resource. Oh, yes, okay, so let's adjust this. I was like, oh, no, man. This was such a good card with like bad sides before they did that. I played it. I did it on Ahsoka. I was like, oh, make the copy and then roll out and try to get like that +3 on it. And like, yeah, Ahsoka resolve +3. Now I'm just stuck with my other +2s. Wait a second. But life. Quanka, what you got for us, man?
All right. I don't know if this is like the 3rd best card in the set, but I really like BD1.
It is. No.
I really like BD1. He's really good with Anakin, because heal 2 is like awesome. And one thing I noticed is that you don't even have to move it if you're like on Anakin. You just be like, all right, I'll get a shield. Next round, I'll try to get to the 2, and then I'll move it to my other Jedi. He's super cute, which is important, and he has a damage side, which is whatever. He doesn't have a resource side, which is kind of a bummer, but sides are solid, and when they're going after Anakin, you put it on him, it's really scary just to pay 1, and like if you ever if you heal 3 off of a BD1. Meaning like you get a shield and you get 2, or if you like heal 4, that's like disgusting. So I like BD1 a lot, get some good value. Yeah, BD1.
Yeah. It's funnier when your youngling gets it for 0 and then rolls out and then uses it and then passes it over. Because then you're getting like mass value.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's a 2 of in the Ahsoka deck as well. Like we're just listing off the Ahsoka deck card by card. You guys didn't know this. This was all a plan that none of us talked about beforehand. can list every blue card from this with Ahsoka Anakin. But I actually just, for me, it's that focus side. That focus side is just so sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
But for those of you guys listening in and don't know, BD1 is a
It's
one
good.
cost blue unique support hero. It's 1 melee, 1 focus, 1 shield special, blank. Power action, spot a Jedi character to move this upgrade to it. The specials heal 2 damage from attached character. It is an equipment droid, by the way. It is a droid. It sets you up for automated defense if you have red hiding somewhere. I don't know why you would or when, unless you're playing droids and your name is honestly sarcastic, and you put this on Grease. Automated defense.
Yes. Oh, come on. What are you talking about?
He's not a Jedi.
You can give him
I
Jedi.
thought it was a droid. A Jedi.
Correct, but BD1 here, I'm saying, like, if you're playing like droids plus Grease and Grease picks up a BD1, the droids could be dead and you can still play the automated. It's not like old BB-8 though. You'll be missed, BB-8. I loved putting you on my merchant freighters.
So, can I make a comment on the set of I never played this video game? Looks fun. Actually went to buy it for my Switch. I cried when I realized it. But so it was such a weird set from like looking through it. I'm like, who the heck? What is this droid? And who's the hell guy? And who's there? And who the heck are all these people? I think it was a really bold choice by the committee to be like, I hope people played this video game. If they didn't. Oh.
To be fair, there are some of us who play this game who have never watched any of the movies, and we play for the entire joy of the game. There's about 3 of us, maybe.
That's like 1%.
That's not even 1%.
That's you.
It's 33% of this podcast, so I got a voice. I'm still a minority.
Psychos. It's just
still a minority, though. More ways than one.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of the lore that's like targeted to children. You know, a lot of the Disney cartoons that are like a lot of us don't know who those characters are. I don't know some of those characters. I'm like, who the heck? Verdun Voss River, you know, whatever random pilot person that they have. I forget the guy's name, but you know, I actually did play the video game. I recommend it if you ever get a PS4 or if it comes to the Switch at some point, but it probably won't just because it's pretty graphically intensive. But it's pretty sweet. I recommend.
Probably get it for my PC. Whenever I'm on my PC, I just play card games. I have all kinds of great video games for this. I'm like, I could play this video game. I could just play awesome card games.
Indeed. Awesome card game. Awesome. All right. Am I next? Yeah, I am next. I'm after Cuenca.
Yeah, you're next.
God. Oh, we're running dry, baby. We're running dry. What we got here? What we got? No.
Should we make this the last card because we're kind of going long?
Yeah, I offered 3 each, man, and then if we get to 5, we could do this.
All right, you do a third, and then Tiny can do the 4th because he's the special guest. Unless he doesn't want to, and then that's fine.
All right.
You have one more card.
All right, I got to come in hot then. We're going in with Grease, Dridus, worst die sides imaginable sometimes. 811 for 8 health, yellow, hero, character, engineer, pilot. The die sides are 1 indirect, 1 focus, 1 discard, 1 resource, 2 resources for a resource, blank. Piloting. After you activate this character, choose a number. Reveal the top card of your deck. If the revealed card's cost is the same as the number chosen, turn it to 2 of your dice to any side. Otherwise, force an opponent to remove 1 of your dice. So, secretly, if you want to cheat, most opponents don't know that they get to remove your die. It makes you a scumbag, but it's hilariously accurate.
It's really important to be a scumbag.
In our tournament game, was I aware of that?
I told you it, I think.
I don't remember.
You were the only person I missed against in that tournament. I missed twice.
Like your whole deck was 3s and you were always guessing 1.
I had 5 3s, 5 total 3s, and I would have 3 that I've drawn, and it'll be like 12% or something, or like even less than that, and it would be like 3, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, whatever. At least I got a 3 for next round, and I know it's there. Next round 3. Oh my god, I think you might have just lost me this game.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
oh
was
god, I
definitely
pulled
a
it.
moment where you had the win easily if it wasn't a 3. So I was like all ready to scoop, and I was like, it's a 3? Ah, okay, cool. I
Yeah,
guess I'm not dead.
it was ugly, real ugly. But Grease in general is very particular. I just think there's a lot of value there. If you had an all one deck, or I don't know if I could do all twos, but if you could do all ones, then like getting 2 focus is bananas from a value perspective. You could always start every round, activate 1, okay, put them both on money. There's no easy pickings to worry about. There's very few situations where someone can actually mess with both dice. So it gets you a lot of stuff. And then, late game, when you instigate and ruin someone's life off of like piloting and, a Chewbacca's blaster, oh, those are going to max damage, and you're going to smash someone right off the table. Get my ghost up there.
That card definitely
Well, if you do,
math intensive, playing odds, and I saw you playing. I was just like, yep, if anyone's going to be playing this well, it's going to be Joe. Like the perfect Joe card. He's done all the math, exactly the percentages.
Yep. And then crying inside when probability's like, not today, boss. Out of here. Actually, I lost my first round of the new Artificery League because in the best of 3 in round 1 off of a Chewbacca blaster, I missed it both times round 1. So I was Chewbacca blaster, I'm going to go kill his Ahsoka round 1. And Grease activates, and it was like, nah, this is a Vibro Sword on top. All right, whatever, guy, no problem. I'll get this back in game 2. Game 2 does it again. I'm real mad. I'm real mad. I'm dead, and I'm mad. But all right, what you got?
It's a dice game, but it's a dice game.
Look, man, 1 in 80 times, I can still be mad. All right, that is the math.
Yeah.
If anyone's wondering, it was
All right,
1 in 80.
Tiny.
All right,
What's
my
your
last
4th?
card, Pirate Plug Thrower. Again, like perfectly representing this design thing of like, got 3 guys of the same color. So I get this card for 1, redeploy, but I can't overwrite it, right? So it's like, it seems like it's super powerful. It's not super powerful, but it's pretty good. I really like the design style of that card, and I feel like it's just a card that really demonstrates their thought process. I think this would have been a completely broken card had FF designed it. You wouldn't have put the overwrite on it. I think you'd have just done all these disgusting things.
Yeah,
Moving it around, you're overwriting it in the late game of in every single deck. And
I don't know, man. It's one of those tough ones because you'd have to have played mono, right? And then like we had a version called Holdout Blaster with the exact same die sides that cost 2 and had ambush. And that wasn't played in every deck, so like
It was, and it was in the beginning.
yeah, because we didn't have other weapons. We had like 4 weapons in the existence of the game. What the guns were DH, F11D, and Holdout Blaster, and like there's like a jetpack and promotion. Like I ran all of those. I had like 12 upgrades or 13 upgrades. I had everything I could run.
So
yeah.
Does this cost? If you have 3 guys, does this cost 1?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty good.
4 guys.
It's 0.
It's free.
In the 6th round of the Faltering Allegiance's release event, my opponent was Han, Chirpa, and a bunch of Ewoks. So the Pirate Slug Thrower was supposed to come down for 0. The Saw deck also had that because he had exactly 4 yellow guys. So like the Pirate Slug was cheap, and it was just like, oh man, and so like he could kill his own Ewok to redeploy over after the Ewok activated and used the die because the Saw like hit his own dude.
Guys, the wheels are turning here. Stay with me here. A bunch of younglings, Force Affinity, and Slug Thrower. There's a decent chance you get to double Slug Thrower turn 1 because you Force Affinity for like 1,000,000 draws to keep re-rolling until you get the best sides on them. Blow up the universe. Did it. We got there. Best deck ever.
So
It
you'll
does
go.
seem good, but the payoff is like +2s. You know,
Yeah.
like
It's
good,
ugly.
but it's not a world beater. You know,
The payoff is resource. Zero got a resource.
Joe's like, no, get a free resource.
Free resource is the
Over
payoff.
over and over again.
Yeah, pay for that Vibra Sword round one. Like you do it, you roll it in, you get the resource, you Vibra Sword, and they're like, oh no. Then you realize you're playing Ewoks and Vibra Sword doesn't get pumped.
Well, do we have any final takeaways of like what we think of this set? Because I feel like our 5 favorite cards, I don't know, they weren't that broken.
They weren't. This set was not about being broken. It was like a bunch of force people to play monocolored decks for obvious reasons. If you want any sort of decent power level to go above like the value curve, it had to pretty much be mono. Like Pirate Slug Thrower, when it cost 1, is actually just a better DH17, which was my favorite like 1-drop in existence. We swapped out a blank for a resource. You lose the overwrite, but like that's fine. The redeploy is just that sweet. The problem is you'd be mono and guns, and I don't even know if guns exist right now. What happened, Cuenca? I missed it. Cut out.
I was gonna say, did you guys want to do like least favorite card? I felt like that might be a good talking point, and basically being like, oh, like Tiny was talking about the things that they did right, but what's your least favorite sort of like card? Either it sucks or like the design you don't like. I don't know if you guys picked one out. I picked out a couple, but
I feel like that's too mean. I don't want to like shit
It's a
on the
critique.
designer. Well, yeah, but the thing is,
No.
we all know how I do stuff, and it's just like if I got bad things to say, I got bad things to say.
you're gonna say them anyways, though, Joe.
I
Like, it doesn't
know.
matter. I might as well
All
just
right.
like make it good content. Sorry, Tiny. Go ahead.
I got one. Because it's not because it's a terrible card, even though it is a terrible card or a bad design, but I just feel like they took a card that was a bad card and then made it worse for no reason. This is the Mastery, where it's, I don't know what the text is, but it's like the special is supposed to be a good thing. Then it's so restrictive that it's absurd, where it's like you have to turn a die. What's the order? It's turn it.
Take a die that's
Wait.
showing damage and turn it to a side not showing damage. Then you can turn a die to a side showing melee. Yeah, it's 3 cost, neutral blue, upgrade ability form, 3 indirect, 3 indirect, 3 indirect. Yes, I said it 3 times. 2 discard, special, so no blanks. Woo! Blue character only. Oh my god. Limit 1 form per character. Why? I want Neiman and Sheehan. After you play this upgrade, you may spend 2 resources to discard a weapon from play. Special. Turn a die showing damage to a side not showing damage. Then turn a die to a side showing melee damage.
All right, let me tell you the problem with this. Because it says then and not may. Let's say all you have is this special, and you're like thinking I'm going to use it for removal, and your opponent has 2 dice. It's like they've got the one showing melee or even some other kind of damage, and the other one's a blank. You turn that off of damage, you're like, gotcha. And then like, really, what about the then part where you have to other die to the melee?
Oh, you can turn
That's
Shicho.
just-
No, you could. Oh yeah. The Shicho doesn't have melee. Oh, that's so bad. No, for that one
I
you
think-
can fail. You can fail. You can choose Shicho and then it doesn't have a melee side and you fail.
Won't the Shicho be gone because you resolved it?
No, when you resolve a die, it does the effect. It's still in the pool. It leaves the pool after the effect is finished. That's why Neiman can touch
Okay, so
itself.
you could choose your own die and have it fail.
Yes.
Well, then I guess it's fine, because to me it felt like it should be a May. I was playing against this poor opponent. They kept doing that and getting completely wrecked, where they would be like, I'll turn your die to a blank. Oh, I guess I have to turn that other one to 2 melee. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, this isn't even fun for either of us. Your own card is destroyed.
Yeah, no, for that one, luckily you can choose your own the Shicho and just fail. It's just
I
that
take
first
it
part.
back.
That first part where if like I don't know, your opponent has a special of damage and you're trying to just flip it to like a 1 melee or something. You have a BD1, you need to get it off of the 2 heal. You'd have to, if you're the only one with the damage side, you'd have to hit your own damage side in order to then use that on the BD.
Just feels overly restrictive for a card that's not good to start with.
Yeah.
That's just like the special should be worded.
Yeah, I hate the card in its entirety. If that was 2 resources to discard and upgrade from play, I'd be like, okay, because like now we're talking like anything. The mirror matches, I got your Sheehan Mastery, I got whatever it was, and like it's much more reasonable there. I had my Vibrosword discarded, and I wasn't upset about the Vibrosword discard. I was more upset that my opponent actually had this in their deck. Yep. And that was the utter disgust, not from the loss of the Vibrosword, but that they had the nads to put this pile of poo in the deck.
I was gonna say, I was actually thinking like if Vibrosword's in every deck, this card's not that bad because you're just like suck it.
It's still pretty bad. You'd have to pretty much overwrite and pay your 2 resources round to kill the Vibrosword. Like that's how bad it is. And then when you use it after, it almost does nothing. I got 3 indirect, guys. Yeah, sure, like I care.
3 indirect's not bad.
It's a 3-cost blue weapon. Oh, sorry, that's not a weapon. Blue upgrade.
You killed. I guess you paid 5 to get a 3-cost upgrade, and you blew up a Vibrosword, which you would blow up a Vibrosword for 2. That seems pretty good.
You would, but would you overwrite?
You get a poopy card.
Would you overwrite an Anakin Saber to have this die, pay 2, and kill a Vibrosword? Maybe.
I mean, if I already resolved the Anakin's lightsaber and die, I can overwrite, pay 2, and the next turn I can overwrite with a better card.
Yes, you can. But it doesn't change the fact that you had this in your deck, and you probably can't do stuff with Sheehan Mastery or Neiman.
You can overwrite Sheehan. You can overwrite this card with Sheehan.
Yeah, and what about when it's the other way? When the Sheehan's already there, you can just not play it, right? You can just dump this to reroll.
I always feel really bad when I have to overwrite my Sheehans. I'm like, this card's so good. I don't want to overwrite it.
Yeah, it really is. It's too good. And then it gets upperhanded. Upperhand is a 0-cost blue event hero. You have to have a value die showing a value 2 or more. You can mitigate a die with a value of 0. So pretty much specials and blanks. But Vibrosword's 0 melee side, I got that upperhanded by twice in a row by the same guy who Shicho Mastered my Vibrosword.
Did you win this game, Joe?
I won the game where my Vibrosword got mitigated twice, but not the game where the Shicho Mastery hit, because that was also the same game where Grease missed twice round 1 each time.
So this was in the tournament that this all went down.
No, the Grease misses twice, and the Shicho was in an Artificery round 1 event, or like the first game of the 8. The upper hand was in the tournament though, and that was savage because I got blown the hell out.
Fun. I missed that.
Yeah, it was Thursday. But all right, so what is next on the agenda, Mr. Cuenca? What you got for us, baby?
Well, I did want to mention one card that I actually have 3 cards here that I wanted that I couldn't decide which one I thought was not like the worst. I know like all cards can't be like great, but like I feel like they could be more like interesting or something. I don't know. It just I'll choose because it has the most text, so I can talk the most about it. Is Painful Lessons, which is 0-cost support. After you play the support, spot any number of blue characters to place that much damage on the support. Action, move 1 damage from the support to one of your blue characters or reroll a die. It costs 0. I don't know if I said that's support. And yeah, I just don't understand this card because it costs you a damage to reroll a die. And that's a lot. And it's not even like deal a damage, because I feel like you could like there could be things where you're like, oh, like a synergy thing where like I deal a damage and I get something. No, it's just move, and it's just like, oh well, reroll 1 die. And it's like it could be reroll 2 dice. Like I just I feel like they could have bumped the power up of this card a bit. I think.
I don't know, man. Reroll a die to take a damage was pretty good at one point in time.
Yeah, that one was free.
It wasn't free. It was cost you 18 for the.
It was on a character.
You started the game with it.
Put in your deck. And then you're just like, all right, I'm gonna mulligan. All right, I'm gonna mulligan. I'm gonna like mulligan. I was like, oh, I really need this like 0 cost. Like, are you gonna really like have like imagine you automatically start the game with this card in your hand, but you draw 4 cards? Would you do that?
Oh no, I hate the card in general. I hate the card in general, but you made it sound like taking 1 damage to reroll was some like god awful thing, and I'm like, I played her a lot, man. Like I played her a lot. Very
Listen,
specific.
having a free ability to do that is plus value, but it's not free. You gotta play that card in your deck, and you have to have it in your hand, and then you have to take an action, and you play the 0 cost poop, and then it just like sits there laughing at you because you're just like, oh. Okay. I don't even deal with damage. At least you get some synergy going.
Yeah, because the move bypasses shields, so it's brutal. What if this didn't say that you had to have a bunch of blue characters to put stuff on it, and it was just like came in with 4 damage on it? Then what? It'd be a Night Sister.
I feel like it would have been interesting if it was like deal a damage, because then you have like stuff like you have like you can like put shields on, and then you like make your like when you roll too many shields, you get like some added value because you're like, oh, I'll deal a damage, and then like I had this 2 shield side, and it was only going to be a 1 shield side, so I got a little bit extra value. But move is so brutal. So poor Anakin. Anakin just wants the shields, and then he wants to be able to do damage. I don't know. That's a villain card, so no, I'm just talking. But anyways, all right, that's it. I move on.
I was okay with the card up until you said it was move, and then I realized it didn't say deal 1, and I was like, oh, that's even worse. Like, it's already terrible. But I think this was someone, like, trying to throw a throwback to me for Night Sister as, like, a funny... And then they were just like, I also hate you, though, so I'm not going to make it playable.
What if this was, like... I was going to say, what if this is, like, a draw card? It has the same text, and it's, like, draw card.
Move a damage, draw card? I feel like
it's not even, like, an auto... It's, like, if it's, like, oh, 0 cost, play this... Draw a card.
Oh, if it did all that and drew a card?
Yeah. Do you put it in your deck? Because you're just like, okay, well, if you have it in your hand, it's like a free roll, right? But then you draw it later. You probably still play it? I don't know. It takes an action, and it's just like...
I'll say this much. If it dealt a damage, I could consider playing this in Raylo. But realistically, we have a better card, in case you didn't know, called Bloodletting.
Yeah.
And for anyone that doesn't know what Bloodletting is, you actually just take a damage, and to the character you dealt the damage to, you can change the character or upgrade die to whatever side you want. And like that's just much better. And I play this in Raylo because I go to specials.
The Bloodletting costs 1 though, right?
It costs 1.
Or it costs 0.
It costs 1. I'll pay the 1.
Yeah, if this card was like flip a die for like move 1, obviously that would be insane. Like, you definitely play this card, but
it's like okay. The other one you can activate multiple times. Is just the number of damage on it. Just that's not going to happen.
Bloodletting.
If it was like,
that's a support. Power from Pain. We had a 0 cost event that did it with 2 spot blues. But
I think if this had like not move 1 damage, but it was like. If it was like 3 resources and you take those resources and you get 3 rerolls, then that would be better, obviously. Because then you're just like, all right, well, I have these rerolls and I can like finagle them through like multiple turns, getting value that way. And that's like a little interesting, but it's still probably not good enough.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Do
you want to go through any of your other terrible cards?
Sure.
No, we don't.
I find it fun. You don't want to go through that?
I think we should move on to our next segment.
Yep. I'm just going to go Assault Rocket Launcher. I'm going to show it on the screen. You guys who have read this before already know why it's bad. I'm not going to deal with this. It's funny with Ahsoka, and there's some funny, interesting things. But whoever did this, I hate you so much. That's it.
That's the card?
All right. We can move on.
You said, may I see the card?
What is the card?
Oh, Saw's Rocket Launcher is a 2-cost Yellow event, yeah, it's ugly and not fun, and whoever made it hates us. It's like,
Also, form drills.
no, so people like form drills, and I don't want to hate on them, but I also think they're crazy. What, dude? People are like, yeah, I'm gonna form. Someone was doing some like infinite deck versus mill shit, and it was just like, you guys are nuts. Go away. Okay, what do we got?
Meta next.
Meta? Yeah, go for it. What do you guys want to talk about the meta? Who's winning with what? Who's doing what do?
Right. Just start with like when I came back. I came back and someone played against me Dengar what's Visage. Love Visage Ventress from I was like, ooh, that's cool. And started playing it. I did like a look through the heart pool and I was like, hold on a second. Play Forlam, Bounty Averted. I don't know what the other card bounties and damage.
It's a desperate something.
Desperate Measures, isn't that the one where it gets rid of the
Correct. The other one's also desperate. It's not measures though. It's a.
oh
I thought it was desperate. It is not desperate.
I don't remember whatever it's called. Basically, it lets you do a whole bunch of direct damage with closing in. It's a whole bunch of resources. Just found Forlam Dengar to be really strong deck that, and when I was playing it, like in that tournament, no one else played at four. The person who I tested it with played. It felt so strong that I actually felt bad bringing tournament because I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is like a release tournament level deck. It might be strong. Then interestingly, from there, it turns out like, he's not quite strong enough. Maybe it's a little bit short in removal, a little bit short in damage. Like I feel like tweaking, but I feel like that deck that's not really on the radar of the meta that much and feels really close to being bonkers. I'm curious what you guys think. Have you? I know this is probably not even a new deck because people are like, what are you talking about, Tiny? Those characters have been out forever. I think Bounty Averted really bumps it up a lot with Forlam because you get to do really crazy things where like I remove piles of your dice, all the bounties come back to me, and then I just put them right back on you. 6 million actions.
But so Hunt Them Down is the one that deals extra damage when you're resolving melee or ranged, and for each bounty. And then Dangerous Escape is the other one. Discard all downgrades on a character, then deal damage to that character equal to the number of downgrades discarded this way. Both of which work with what you're intending.
And so it's like you have these 3 synergy cards work really well with Forlam plus bounties.
Yeah.
And so whichever one you're drawing, you're just like, cool, I'll just do all the bounties from you back on, or better yet, I'll just put them on the other guy.
I think the deck play is interesting. I do like some of the other bounty setups better. I think you have a much higher ceiling with time with Forlam. I think the dilemma ends up being is that I'd assume everyone and their mom went after Dengar versus you, and they should have just been going after Forlam because once Forlam dies, a lot of that stuff goes away, and if that stuff goes away, you lose a massive amount of your ceiling. So I think the deck was very interesting. I think there's definitely ways to push it, but the overall lack of removal and the downside of now they know who to target is a very large problem.
Yeah.
I would try to do things like pull.
So one thing it cut after pull. I would do a lot of things like pull.
Would put Pulse Cannon on to like bait them into thinking that Dengar is the guy I need to kill. Thanks, you write it with Vibro Sword. God.
Yep. Put Patar on him, and they're like, oh, we got to kill him now. He's got 2/2/3 on this upgrade. And then you're like, overwrite Vibro Sword. And they're like, no. Overwrite with my 2-cost Pirate Slug Thrower.
Definitely right, though. When people kill Forlam first, it becomes harder. But it's tough because if you get the 2 shields at the start, and then he has 12 health and 2 shields, and they're like, that is a lot of damage to chew through. I could just go for Dengar, who's ping one every time and has weapons on him. I don't know. I feel like there's can be alluring to go after.
It can, but we're talking a 4 health differential, and like the difference between getting 3 of your dice blown out or taking 3 extra damage in the late game scenarios, because it takes you a while to get to the bounties, and then 2, you have to find the event, means that if you kill Forlom, Dengar is not doing the same stuff with those cards. Mitigate pulse cannon until you die. That's the gist.
Yeah, I imagine that your deck is like much better when you're in the roll and you just take their battlefield and put 2 shields on
Forlom.
On Forlom, and you're like, all right, who do you want?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So meta stuff we've been seeing: Faltering Allegiance event, Vader Malicos United. Technically United We Stand won that event. We saw it win a couple events after that. And realistically, the Faltering Allegiance event was the large one. The events after were like the smaller time ones, which is like the Entourage Gaming Weekly, and I think maybe one of the other releases. So, Ed, do you have any thoughts on Vader Malicos and whether it's the big man on campus to take down?
Yeah. So you go first, Quink.
Well, I played against it. It seems like it's kind of bad against like hero with shields because there generally is going to be a shield out, and it's just sort of like turns Malicos, makes it worse. And like tanking is like very real, where you're just like, okay, well, I'll just put some shields on my guy, and Malicos has that that annoying pay side too, so it's just like rolling the pay side with using his ability kind of makes it awkward. And like Vader's fine, he's got two sides. He's got the 2 discard side. The cards, I feel like I actually played it. I've only played 1 match in the TTS, and I was playing Anakin Cal with United for 0, and I ended up winning 2-0, and it's basically on the fact that like I had shields that I was rolling in. They couldn't do anything about it. And also, I had the worst character and the best character, and like Anakin, he died every time, but like I was able to kill their guy first. And again, these weird situations where I had to just like use damage instead of like waiting, because I was like, okay, well, Anakin might die, and then I don't get the value, and then I just lose the game. But then Cal comes in, and yeah, so like I think that there is a good chance for like a counter, like Blue Hero is like a good counter to that, because of the shields, which is sort of segues into what I've been looking at, which is just Blue Hero in general, which is like Anakin Cal or Anakin with like Ahsoka and like Padawan. Younglings, like both seem very strong.
Yep. Nope, that's pretty much what's been found, is that like if you can generate a bunch of shields without a very high cost to it, it causes massive issues because their board state doesn't get very strong at a reasonable pace, because they have to pay for Malicos and potentially for the pay side. So it's a struggle to afford that. Plus their removal is just pretty awful.
For me, the big takeaway of that deck has been like won the tournament with it. Way this deck is. It's the fairest deck I've ever seen in Destiny Awakenings. Like, it's just a super fair deck. I roll things in, they're pretty good. I turn a single one of your dice, just re-roll. Like, this deck can't be good. I played it a bunch of times. It's good. It's just like it's just enough. Either the whole like, all right, I'm on the ropes, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna eject, and now he's not dead. Fine, I'll get you next turn. You're like, I got another eject. Like, you're not killing Vader.
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that deck is good, there's so many good things about Destiny and how I like it to be played. It's good. I do think it's good. I think it's interesting that like that has like a meta is forming sort of around that deck since it events.
Mhm.
If you look at the top 8 of the Artificery League, at red deck where they're just like, cool, I'm gonna have like mega blaster, mega troopers, and all this stuff, and you're gonna turn one of their dice to a blank. Like you said, you got what, your isolation is gonna handle this? I don't think so. That kind of deck really.
Yeah. Well, so actually, that deck, the initial guys won't have the issue, but a Mega Blaster has massive issues with Unending Hate. Because that's when you roll out, and now you'll see 2 or 3 blanks. And if you had one before, oh, you're going to get smashed for 3 or 4 on that. But they're supposed to have a bunch of additional health because of like a Camino cloning factory. So they're going to be in a solid position with that. They already started with a bunch of health. And with light removal, they're just going to be like, got a bunch of resources, played a bunch of stuff, got a bunch of resources, played a bunch of stuff. Made an extra dude, and like that amount of health is going to be a struggle for Vader Malicos to get through. They said in testing. So I agree. I actually think the new kid on the block is essentially the Anakin Ahsoka Youngling deck. It does the shield thing very well for against any of the aggro decks. The thing where it actually struggles, because it actually does do damage very well, and it has like that pseudo action cheat from Ahsoka can do it, Anakin can do it to resolve the Ahsoka again after. And then has his own, and then a pushing slash is the event I forgot like 8 million minutes ago in this podcast, that you can activate Anakin, like resolve one of his dice, then punch for the other 2, then flip him, and then lose the other die, and you're like, whatever. So they have that like pseudo action cheat element. They have some of this damage they can spike your small guys off with. They just also have small guys, because Anakin essentially has 8 health after 2 rounds. So did you punch 8 into him or Ahsoka? If you did, there might be struggling. So like it is a pseudo race from that perspective, but Hero has a bunch of shield cards. So
Right. Story time from last night.
mm-hmm.
Never seen that deck before. So Elrathion is playing it, and I'm playing Eric Vader or Vader. 3 turns it took me to kill the freaking youngling. Because I knew if I didn't kill the youngling, he's gonna kill it with Vader and insta flip him. 3 turns it took me, because he'd be like, because the Vader Terran deck doesn't do a ton of damage, and I'd be like, good damage, and he's like, all right, put this on 3 on youngling. Fine, do 2 more damage. All right, then I'll put another shield on. And it was just mind-numbingly annoying. And then finally I killed him, and I realized, oh goody, Terran has 2 health left. He's going to activate Anakin and kill him. I had to kill the youngling and kill Terran with Vader's dice. Now I don't have any dice left. It's just Vader going up against Anakin. It was a total debacle. It seems good.
Yeah, just smash their Anakin. If they hit their own youngling, they'll have to have done all 4 to the youngling, and they'll have taken points to their Anakin. Like, you're so far ahead in that race. The youngling's actually just supposed to there to get value over time. BD1, flip it over, overwrite. 2 cost Anakin's lightsaber. 1 cost Neiman Mastery before like switching into like a regular lightsaber. So they're just supposed to get value off of it that way. It's not supposed to be the thing where you flip off of it. There used to be an old FC version where people could decide to do it that way, but that Vader is actually not as strong as you want him to be. It is just obviously cool if you can like just kill your youngling because you're afraid of Anakin dying. But doing 2 to yourself and taking another 1 to get plus 5 health and lose your 2 dice isn't actually worth it. It's way too much you're losing.
Yeah, you're saying that's what happened there, and that's totally fine.
It's okay. We call everybody scrubs here, not including ourselves. Oh.
But that deck seems really good. Like, I'm really excited to play a. Like, as soon as I saw that card, I was like, all right, I want to play a deck with this. Everything I've tried has been.
Sorry about that. My niece was trying to call for homework. She was supposed to call at 8:30, and it's 8:12. So I don't know. She's coming in hot early. She's just like, I want to get this physics done. Uncle, you need to help me. So it's just like, I'm like, all right, let me B button you. Nope, go straight to voicemail. Send that text. 8:30. But
all right.
Well,
yeah. Was Balatik not good? It's like his dice, or at least that one side, damage side. He's got a 2 resource side. He's not super expensive. I haven't been able to find anything broken. Wondering sort of break down why you think that there's not anything broken with it.
I think it's just a yet time. The mono blue stuff is just such in a good position upgrade wise. Their event package is solid. Like the villain one's a little weak, but like the hero one's just in such a good spot. I think Bala is just gonna take some time to figure out what deck list, because the dilemma is that you can't easily guarantee the resource. You have to kind of have focus in somewhere. He's probably best with a non-yellow partner. And right now we're all like, oh, we want to run United and stuff like that. But the yellow removal package is actually just very weak, meaning the other color would kind of have to help it immensely, and that's a rather large problem. But his die sides are really, really good. The 4-for-1 indirect, I think, is a trap. If you're playing against a 2-wide deck, it's like perfectly fine. They get split up if it's your first one. But usually if you're playing like a ramp-based deck or something with like big stuff, it's like, what happened? Like, you can reap into 2 resources and take it. But if you roll out and find the 2 resource and they just mitigate it, like, what else was in your deck to get situated? What are you doing? What is the partner doing? So, like, we've been trying to do some crazy stuff with, like, Bazine and, like, round 1 Crime Lord stuff. And there's some shenanigans that go on there, especially with the Operation card, because Bazine giving the second Detect now gives you that problem, like, 2 cards are detected. If you play any of them, you take damage. So now Bazine has her actual good sides and that poke, and there's some weird play. I think Bala's gonna see play soon. If not this set, one of the next sets, he'll get a partner where he can operate well. It's just, I think right now decks are so wonky that going mono with like United or We Stand tends to be more profitable right now, especially with those decks that have legitimate removal. The yellow villain is missing a 0 cost. Like, red has Sinister Piece, the blue has Forsaken. Yellow doesn't have anything there that's like viable. So having everything cost 1 is just real brutal, and their ones are also just atrocious. So we'll kind of just see what ends up happening. I try to do some Bala Dooku and things like that, because like Dooku into then you have a Vibro Sword on Bala. So now if Dooku has a Vibro Sword, it's like get that +5 for 1. Got some crazy pairings. So, but it's, I don't know. It's tough because blue also wants just a bunch of blue. Their best upgrades are blue only. Red is just like in a weird spot upgrade wise. So you supports? You're gonna run an entourage with like no focuses available. The answer is probably yes, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But I like where that's going. Lots of good stuff. All right, so we are coming in late here with an hour and a half. I think we should get interrupted by a special bulletin, and coming in hot here is Mike Bobby Sapphire Gem in a suit like he's on NFL broadcasting right now. Let's hear what he has to say. Hope you guys got your sound on. I hope I have my sound on.
Tiny Grimes, welcome back to Star Wars Destiny. It's been good to see you making Destiny videos again, Destiny content. I see you doing like a little podcast style thing, some gameplay, and I just have to congratulate you because I can only assume that if you're back to making Star Wars Destiny videos, you finally created content for every single game ever created, every card game, every Switch game, and you finally found your way back to Star Wars Destiny. And I think that's really great. Really great of you to just try everything once. Don't forget everything we worked on together mentally, that it's okay to lose. You learn from losses. It's going to be okay. And I wish you luck making Destiny content once again. It's good to have you back.
Special news correspondent. Yep, Bobby Sapphire reporting out.
Well, that was great. I didn't hear all of it, like the parts that I heard.
Oh, boo.
Wow. Well,
Hopefully it'll come
not
out.
wrong. Investment of me. Kind of feel like that's what happened. I've like played everything now. And I'm like, nothing is like as fun as Destiny was back how I remember it in glory days. It was like that's where the only problem, of course, is that hard to find games, right? If I'm playing like Legends of Runeterra, I can just
Click.
button, game magically appears for me, and that's great.
It is tough to get games. It is very tough to get games. That can be beyond
Right.
brutal,
That's why you
especially
gotta
with the
join the
weird
league.
splintering. Yeah, you do have to join the league. Did you join this month's league?
The November one.
Yeah.
I'm planning to.
I will sign you up, and I will pay for it because I have that much credit from the OG days. I'm Senor Cheapo. I won't put cheese on a burger, but I will sponsor Tiny Grimes in this November league.
It's very generous.
Don't even think about putting bacon on a burger.
Oh hell no, that's like $1.50 or $2. Get out of here, guy. I won't even pay the $1 for cheese. Like, it's just not happening, baby. It's not happening. I'll pay like $2 for shrimp though.
This is the problem. I don't have any problem losing like Angran. Yes. I hate like joining a league and losing. I'm trying to kind of wait till like know what I'm doing before I start playing league games, which I know is dumb because that's how I'll learn more. I just don't feel like being the sheep instead. Hey guys, but this trash I have, and they're like, ah, thanks for the win, man.
If you want, I can play
You're
you with a bunch of
describing-
loop decks, but it'll still look the same.
I think you're describing a lot of my league experiences, Tiny, where I just like going with a pile and I'm like, maybe this is good. And just like, well, and then they're like, oh, there's a ruling. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, my deck is much worse now. Or something like that. So I think that you should just do it because A, it's the best way to get games because you can go into a room and people actually actively want to get games because there's the glory and then like the $10-20 that you get at the end of the month when you top 8 or top 16 or whatever. And yeah, it's fun. Like you're playing games that mean something on like a very basic level, which I think that you can definitely enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone out there, if you haven't signed up and you're interested, please do so. One thing I was thinking about was
Your sign up.
the allure.
Where do you sign up?
So Joe's gonna pay everyone's sign up. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have 1,000 people in the league.
We can't
I wish.
afford that after all that Patreon money we paid you to be on the podcast, Tiny. I'm sorry.
20 grand.
Monopoly money. There's
We
all
call
those
them loot bucks.
there's all those little orange ones, right? Like those are 500 each.
Call them bison bucks. You ever watch
This is one of my
Street Fighter?
favorite things.
Street Fighter.
Like early on, I would see things on Reddit that were like, you know what I hate about Tiny? How much money FFG is obviously paying him for these videos. And I was like, really? Have you ever dealt with FFG before? The only thing they would pay me would be like cease and desist order. That's the only thing that comes from them.
No, they'd
They
give
would-
you
they-
an NDA and a bunch of work to do for free.
They would pay for the paper where the NDA, they would pay for the paper they would send to your house that said, "Stop talking about our games, or we'll sue you."
No, they'd have you print the NDA and then mail it back to them. So you have to pay for the paper, the ink, and the shipping.
True.
All right. So
One thing I will say about the game ending and the continuation community happening, and is that you don't have to buy cards anymore, which is kind of nice. I think that's like a benefit that no one really talks about. Where you're just like, all right, you have all these people and they're kind of like working for free, get these like virtual cards, and hopefully one day we'll have like an IRL Worlds, and you'll just, we can print either print cards or just like print like a little piece of paper and put them in another card. And
people have already printed them and the dice.
oh yeah, no, I'm sure people are doing. I'm just saying that like for the average schmo, like you can like print something out in your house and just
Or the
print
super
a card.
cheap person.
Obviously, like someone's gonna print stickers.
They do that as well.
Right, yeah, exactly.
There's two prices.
like,
There's
I-
printed dice and
I
then the
know-
sticker.
I know in the groups. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know about the dice because in my mind it just seems like you can't print dice that are as good. You could print like stickers and then put them on old dice, and that seems like what the solution is. But if someone like comes up with like a 3D printed dice that has like the rounded edges, I mean that's probably, I've seen some, but I thought that they were just stickers and they look good, but stickers.
I've just been going to the park, taking a tree branch and just like getting my own dice out of the wood with
Whittling.
good. It always lands on the 3. It's made.
Oh, that's like my Sabine die. Bobby Sapphire knows. All right, let's get to some podcast questions. So the first one was: is there any Patreon money left after paying Tiny off? 0. There had to be something
No.
to start. How much money did it take to get Tiny on the Loops podcast? $0. Tiny, was I ever on your podcast?
No.
Okay, I'm still owed that from like the second championship tournament.
Was that a reward at
Yeah.
some point?
Yeah.
We got
It's supposed to be on the Smugglers Den. Instead, you just had Bobby Sapphire all the time, so it's okay.
That seems fair. That seems fair. You guys are essentially the same person.
Definitely not. He's much
Yeah, all the-
prettier than I.
All the ladies that watch Tiny were like, "We need to be on." I saw them. I saw them in the comments.
All the tweeners. So, actually, Caliber Nick asks, really though, what brought you back to Star Wars Destiny?
Basically, members reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, we've got a product, and we're doing our best to try to like reach out to everyone and get everyone involved, and we're excited about it. Would you take a look at it?" That's really all it was. And like for me, I just decided I wasn't playing as long as FFG. Too many problems. Knowing that the game that I once had loved, the chance to keep going, whether or not I played it, I just think it's cool that someone was keep it going, so that maybe 5 years down the line, I might be like, you know what, I'm going to give that Destiny a try. So I was excited that someone was going to try to keep it alive. I'm going to take a look at the cards and really talk to. Wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a couple guys just like, yeah, man, some cards, they're all freaking broken. It's going to be a good time. But instead, it was like piles of people who had thought really carefully about structures of organizations and things like this, and some really measured cards and a really thoughtful approach to design and thinking about what will the meta look like after rotation and trying to scale it back. And I was just really impressed overall with their approach as an organization. I thought, sure, I'll give it a try. And then I said, I was stunned that the game didn't suck. I just did not enjoy action, chain, all that. Like playing because I like Destiny and I like the community. Game felt like Awakenings on steroids, which thing not a. I was like,
Nice. I'm actually going to skip the next question because the one after actually went, how does Destiny feel now compared to when you played an Awakenings block? But I think he went through those earlier, much slower.
definitely, it feels like Awakenings, only more powerful cards.
Yeah, it's because Convergence is that powerful. Like if we only played with Faltering Allegiance, we wouldn't have enough decks of anything, and it'd be pretty awful. But you're not supposed to play with like a 90 card deck or 90 card set, whereas like the normals I think were like in the 143 to 160 range.
The weird thing about Faltering Allegiances is I don't really weird all we had because everything is so specific because of the they were designed to interact with the existing cards. I'm not sure how it would exist on it. Like it's all these pre decks where like there's the spy deck, there's the Cal Kestis awful theme deck, and then like that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, they brought mono back to the game that was just running on Rainbow for years.
It's hilarious because it was like, okay, so the game's mono. United's the best card. All right, awesome. It was Rainbow.
All right. Have you ever had a Twinkie?
I never had a Twinkie. I grew up in the 80s. Hell yeah, I've had like thousands of Twinkies. Question's not.
I had a Twinkie for the first time like a couple weeks ago, so that's why.
Okay, well, sorry if I insulted you in any way.
No,
but,
it's fine.
Yeah, I've had a lot of.
That was on purpose. It's the same reason I haven't watched Star Wars Destiny. It doesn't seem as good as people think it is.
Oh yeah, I haven't had one. I've had like one in the last 10 years. wasn't great.
Yeah.
I will say that. I don't enjoy Twinkies. I just had many of them as a child.
Okay, so we now have a group question finally. What do you think about the a renewed hope committee considering restricting R2D2? Do you have any thoughts?
I'm fine with almost any card being restricted that seems powerful. I will say though, it doesn't even seem player in the meta, and so my theory on restricting is you wait until a card is really dominant in the meta and it's a way to shake up the meta. That's sort of how I think of design rather than trying to like proactively say this card at some point could be good. If you're worried like with future set design, I'd be totally fine with them dropping a new set and say, get the new set, by the way, R2 is restricted. Make everything. That's fine too.
Yeah. And design was one of the reasons they felt like it strangleholded it, but it was really just because of droids. So the restriction isn't just R2's broken; it's R2 plus 3PO. They felt was too good. You got any thoughts on that, Cuenca?
I think that it's funny that you mentioned that and discussing one of the cards that I thought was really bad, which was Restraining Bolt, because in my mind I was like, really, you're gonna play this card in your deck just because you don't like R2? And it just seems that they were already thinking about doing something to R2. They were like, all right, we're gonna print Restraining Bolt, which is a downgrade mod that modifies a droid. The attached character support dice cannot be turned. And in my mind, I'm like, well, EMP, Electromagnetic Pulse, is just generally a better card. It costs 0, and you can hit vehicles. But specifically about restricting R2, I think it's too soon to talk about that. It's such an iconic pairing to have C-3PO and R2 together that I think that missing that, I think that would be a big blow. I would rather see like an increase in like one of their points or something.
Yeah. I don't get to talk because I'm a homer, I guess. So, like, I've been playing droids for like a year and a half or something like this.
Weird thing for me coming into the game, I haven't been playing droids for a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
So I come to the game with a new set. Droids are not dominating. I've only seen droids with you, and it felt good, but it didn't feel dominating. It's like, I have a really weird perspective on this where everyone else is like, I don't even care for R2D2. I'm just so sick of seeing that combination. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've only seen it twice in my whole life. It's fine. What's the problem here?
Yeah.
Oh man, you would have lost your mind if it wasn't already because you didn't like action cheating, like the R2 C3PO like busted stuff that had happened. It was just like so obnoxious to play against because they basically could just like do damage or like kill your resources. And you're just like, oh, well, that's nice.
So when they came out, military camp, which is the current battlefield, you could activate R2 and 3PO, and there was the plot Fateful Companions fit in the team as well. So you could either turn 2 dice and then resolve 1 at +1 value, or turn 1 die and resolve 2 dice at +1 value. So what would happen is you would military camp, eat both of their resources, and gain 2 resources 63% of the time. You could eat their resources 100% of the time off of the military camp. So, like, that got hit real fast, and then we progressively got more and more hits. C-3PO got a point. Then he was on the restricted list with Fateful at some point later, and then they had to put Chopper on the restricted list. And then they had to put Ben and Refinery on the list at the same time too. So like there was just like it was a progression of like this droid deck, that droid deck, this droid deck, that droid deck, this droid deck. So like people are just upset with the amount of changes that occur. And even in the last format, it was like Satine and Rescue Han with droids. And Rescue Han's not even theoretically supposed to be played with them because you're like, oh, you got to get this team up to get the discount. No. We're just going to play droids and then do this. And we're going to pull this 12 health guy and ruin someone's life. So, like, that's more or less where it is. Like, they're just tired of seeing the stuff and then kind of seeing the Grease deck also. Like, we're just like, so, I don't know. Pop. And I don't know. I can go win with the Grease deck, but I haven't seen most people, like, do decent with it at all. But, love.
I say probably just leave R2 for. Put him on a watch list. Right? Like he's clearly on the watch list. If that deck springs up once more, okay, fine, that's it. We can't keep doing this. If there's a new set and he's restrictive, restrict him then as well. But right now, like you could look at the top 8, R2 in that. It just feels like an odd moment to be like, is not a meta top card. Let's hit it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't get to talk because if I reach top 8, I'm probably just playing droids. But that's just because it's my thing at this point, right? Like, instead of being the guy who played Vader every time, I'm the guy who plays droids every time. So it's like 50 shades of droids. What's my shade today? All right. All right, Quenka, what do you think? Is there any hope for Mill in this meta? You weren't around for all the Mill metas, Tiny.
Yeah, that was like not even awakenings or action cheating. It was just like misery because the game. It's like if you play it online, the games would take forever. I can't say in my mind, the only mill deck that exists is like Jawa. You play a bunch of Jawas or Villain Mill. Probably Villain Mill is probably the more realistic mill deck. I don't know if you can really have a hero mill deck, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
I actually don't know. I don't even know what mill cards are left. But yeah, like Tiny said, like rolling into Anakin doesn't feel good. Rolling into potentially droids doesn't feel good. Malicos still has their stuff going with We Stand. Like you can't really mitigate, and then they can get an untap, and that's like real good. So there's just major concerns there. I'd have to actually really see what's left for Mill because they lost a lot of stuff. And so like they lost the Anakin's Pod Racer, which is a massive card. They kept some of the super clutch Mill cards, but they lost so much removal. They lost the Pacify, like the Entangles. So they're just kind of like in a world of hurt from that perspective, and you can only stay alive for so long. So if you can't kind of win the game on 4, you can't play Mill. And like the version with Bale lost that stupid Rebellion Leader awful card that only worked pretty much in that deck, and I think that was massive for them. So I agree here with Tiny. Don't think you can play Mill.
Look through the set. One for cards just because I was like, I'll be that guy. I'll build a Mill.
Oh, so I think you could play Droid Mill, by the way. I forgot to tell you guys that. Because you put the Vibro Sword on, and then you can action cheat to 3 discard. And what it is Grease has discard sides. So you could instigate into 5 discard and just take their whole hand.
Come on, Joe. Nice. You can play droid anything according to you.
There was a droid. Tiny. There was actually a droid mill deck that wasn't embarrassing for like a very small time.
Yeah, Chopper would. Chopper also had discard sides. So what happens is you could do that right now. I think you could probably play Chopper Grease Mill. Like there's probably something there for doing it, and you instigate into like the Vibro sorted big discard side because you still get salvages with red. You just have to figure out what your exact pairing is. But Chewbacca's blaster has a discard side. Hired Muscle has the 2 discard side. So an action sheet on Grease does set you up to dunk an entire hand. We just did it. We solved the meta, guys. Grease droids Mill.
About Mill, the thing that Mill's always had a problem with is that when you're in a tournament, there's always one deck you don't want to see. When Mill was popular, you didn't want to see droids, and you'd always run into it, and you just lost. And now you play against Anakin, and you're just gonna lose to Anakin. Like he just has free damage, and you're gonna have a bad time. And especially now you lost great characters, and you have no answer still, but that's about it.
Hey, Chopper has damage sides. Just kill him. Chopper to Vibrosaur. Just kill him. Yeah. Instigate dead.
Just kill him.
Instigate dead.
Yep.
Swap them up just like that. And then all of a sudden they're like, I thought you were a mill deck. When I feel like it. When things aren't going so great. We gonna take your hand today, boy. Should mill be a viable win condition in the future, as it was in the legacy block meta, or more niche like it is now? Well, we kind of just talked about this.
Should not be.
It's not even niche. It's not even niche. I think it should be like a tier 2 deck. I think it should be like a deck where like it keeps people like it's a deck you can bring to a tournament where like everyone's just playing like slow ass dirtily like support decks, and you just want to punish them. But it should never be the best deck.
Yeah. Oh, Krennic Vader, you can run mill because they both have 2 discard sides. And then you just bring in Fickle, and then Krennic flips the Fickle to the discard.
Oh, you can do what is it? Krennic, Vader, and what's the Separatist plot?
Oh yeah. Death Star or whatever. Construct the Death Star.
No, Separatist conspiracy.
Oh, Separatist.
No, Separatist conspiracy.
Is that a mission plot? Oh,
no,
is Krennic 13
it
points?
costs 2. 13, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they're 2 leaders. Woo! We build that deck.
Oh baby, you get the Salt Flat going. You're just like, oh. Admiral, you get to Admiral them. You Admiral on tap for discards. Got you, bro. No miss you, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember the stupid card. The 1-cost one that just ruins people's games.
Yeah, play your Force Affinity now, bro. Draw those cards, bitch.
That's what I'm saying, man. You just ruined someone's life. All right. When is Bobby going to be on Tiny's channel again? Whenever he wants.
Am I going to be on my channel again?
That should be one of the better questions. When are you going to be on your channel, Tiny?
Next week.
Sporadic. I've gotten really busy lately. Like, I'm a full-time teacher, children who are home because of the pandemic. And I was like, you know what I should do? Not free time. I should enter an MBA program. Oh, yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Glad to see you further in that education. Doing similar stuff. It's good stuff, man. The online's sweet. I just, hopefully all of this stuff gets better. Oh, man. Someone was telling Bobby Sapphire to crash the podcast. Too busy. Dad duty, baby. All right. So, yeah, we've been going on for about 2 hours here. I think we can pretty much, wrap this up. We'll throw on the Artificery League. Any plugs you want to throw out, Tiny?
First time I stream Twitch Tiny Grimes. There's 5 people there. You can have a good time. I also occasionally post videos on Tiny Grimes. I've been trying to do a Smuggler's Den. Like, I don't know how long that will. It's gonna last as long as I have something to say. And once I run out of things to say, I'll stop saying things.
Fair enough. Nothing like me. I'll just talk for days. I don't got no what to say. I'll just figure stuff out while I'm driving to work for an hour and a half, right? That was the MO.
Where are you driving now these days, bro? Though.
To the sushi
nowhere.
To the sushi place every about 2 weeks because it's like $40 for all you can eat. That's pretty much it. I don't leave this basement with this old like wood paneling. I'm just gonna sit here and die. But anything else you want to throw in, Cuenca? I know you got some joke time.
I guess I'll do it quickly now because we're running late. All right. So, just to say about my jokes here, I got the jokes that are so jokey.
You're supposed to look it up. Is LTP long-term plan, by the way?
Well, it was a misplay. It was a play on LTP for life pro tip.
Oh yeah, now we ain't got time for no pro tips. Pro tip: don't podcast for 2 hours. Oh,
yeah, I've had a feeling.
Pro tip: don't podcast in Discord. Use Skype.
Oh, okay. So I got it. I'm gonna try to do it off the dome here. So I just recently moved into a new apartment, and I found that my microwave and my stove don't work that well. And I was seeing what was up, But then I realized that they were both made by Frigidaire.
They were both cold.
Yes,
Very nice.
because they're stoves and microwaves.
Yeah.
They're made by Frigidaire. That's my joke. That's my joke. I was trying to set it up in a better way, but I just couldn't think of it. Because it's kind of a funny thing. They actually don't work as well as my old ones, and they're by Frigidaire. And I was like, this is like, this writes itself, but it doesn't really write itself.
Oh, there wasn't a joke there. It definitely wrote something, but it didn't write a joke. It wrote like something different.
Well, it's a pun. It's a play on. It's a pun because it's Frigidaire. Yeah. There needed to be like another sentence.
Here's
Yeah,
a
one
bad
quick
joke for you. What did one Wookiee say?
You know what the best part about that was? He got it out in the middle. So it was like, what did one Wookiee...
The other Wookiee ate the other Wookiee. Yeah, now they're dead both because the one Wookiee that was eaten had diabetes and the other one got diabetes. So there you go.
I don't know. Best joke here is Tiny's hat. They can't see it, but you guys can, unless you're on the audio.
I just want to say thanks so much to Honestly Sarcastic Joe and Quenko, his new name, coming on the Hyperloop this week with me, Gem. You can catch us. I don't know how often we do. This is your outro.
It doesn't matter. We outro at the end. I just connect it. But we do it in 3 weeks. Do you want to come back? No. Okay. No.
Don't put him on the spot.
I put everybody on the spot. Look, man, if you have a date, you got to try to set up the second at the end of it. Don't wait for that 3-day bullshit.
I'd like to have a date with you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's the next time I'm free.
I definitely want to come.
We'll check. But you got to get in that league and you got to get games because I want to see both of you knowing what's going on with the meta and the fact that R2-D2 is going to come crush shit because people don't know how to play no droids. Yeah. Or either that or it's just me playing droids because I'm a maniac.
Hey, I'm undefeated in the league, all right? I'm 1-0, baby.
Yeah, I'm 0-1 with droids. I'm 100% though on Grease backstabbing me and betraying my ass in round 1. In a best.
Also, undefeated in the league as well. So Quenko and I have it.
Yeah, you also are winless.
Right.
That may be, but I'm still doing better than you. 0-1.
Yeah, I got so many points. It's okay. I'll be all right. Got all them invitation points. I could lose like the next 2 games. It'll be fine. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. This is the Tiny Loops broadcast brought to you by not Bobby Sapphire because he's just MIA. And we love him and we miss him. And we're going to try to get more of Sports Center Bobby Sapphire if we can because that was actually pretty good. I just wish it was longer and it really wasn't. And I just like talking like this because I think it's funny and make you guys listen to me. Ready. Bye. Deuces.